Every day we consume energy, but where exactly does the energy we use for our mobile phones, computers, food, drink or light and much more come from? There are many different ways where we get our energy from. For instance, from burning coal or using other fossil fuels. Unfortunately, these and many other sources of energy are not good for our environment.
About 33% of Germany's emission production comes from the energy we produce in Germany.
In comparison, 15% of Germany's emissions are caused by agriculture. In my opinion, this is already too much. We should think about how we can reduce our emissions here in Germany. One way of reducing our emissions are by using renewable sources of energy. For example, there are several reasons why we need renewable energy sources now more than ever. One being, of course, climate change. The more we use non-renewable forms of energy, like fossil fuels, the more we strengthen the greenhouse effect. The use of renewable energies is protecting the environment and the climate, as very few emissions are produced. Renewable energies are often produced regionally.
Let's start with technologies that are already being used, for example biofuel. Biofuels are biologically produced fuel alternatives to fossil fuels. There are three types of biofuels. In the first generation, bioethanol or biodiesel are transformed of biofuels which are harvested from food, crops or vegetable oil. The biofuels of the second generation are harvested from cellulosic materials, which are the main components of herbal cellular walls. This process takes much longer because it is difficult to harvest cellulosic materials. The third generation biofuels are harvested from algae. An alternative energy source, which is not as friendly as biofuels, is the natural gas. Natural gas is methane CH4, which consists mainly of methane, but its composition changes through their location. It is a combustible, naturally occurring gas mixture that occurs in underground. It is often found together with oil because it is produced in a similar way. A technology that everyone has used before is hydrogen energy. Hydrogen energy is used in fuel cell vehicles, like in fuel cell buses or combustion engines. Hydrogen fuel is an emission-free fuel that burns with oxygen.
Now, let's talk about solar energy. Solar energy is nowadays the most used form of renewable energy, as it is the cheapest and the most practical form. The basic idea behind solar energy is to transform the radiant energy from the sun, harness it, and transform it into energy. 7.5% of Germany's energy is produced by solar energy. A reason for this is that solar energy was one of the first commonly used forms of renewable energy. Nowadays, more is invested in solar energy than ever to make them more efficient and more productive. There are also solar parks. These solar parks don't only have solar panels, but also have mirrors, which help increase the efficiency of solar panels. However, solar parks require a large area, and in the northern hemisphere, they are not as productive as on the equator. Another bonus of solar energy is, solar panels are an easy addition to a household, as one can just put them on the roof or other areas where sunshine can get to them. Wave energy is produced in wave power plants, which are a form of smaller hydroelectric power stations. They use the energy of the ocean waves to generate electricity. The energy is a renewable form of energy. However, all installations which are implemented to date are prototypes and serve various tests and trials. As the water surface moves up and down, the float moves with the waves, while pulling on the cable underneath. The magnetic column inside the generator coils moves up and down with the waves. Thus, kinetic energy is produced in a renewable way. Now let's come to the pros and cons of wave energy. A massive pro is, of course, that the energy which is produced in these wave power plants is 100% renewable energy. However, wave energy is very expensive in comparison to other forms of energy.
One thing they all have in common is that you cannot store the energy in case of an energy surplus. But the marine pump storage system got an answer to this problem. The marine pump storage system are 30 meters hollow concrete spheres on the seabeds which are filled with water. When there is a power surplus, this is used to empty the hollow spheres. If power is needed, the water is allowed to flow in again. The high pressure at a depth of 600 to 800 meters drives turbines and generate electricity.
Now let's have a look into the future. There are many exciting new developments in the field of renewable energies. In this look into the future, I will mostly focus on nuclear fusion, as I think it is the most important form of renewable energy for our future. Basically, nuclear fusion allows us to harness infinite energy. This would allow us to reverse the effects of climate change to an extent and to live in a sustainable future where energy is no longer a problem. Only last week, the first nuclear fusion reactor in China went online and produced plasma. This is a huge step to nuclear fusion and shows that nuclear fusion is possible in the near future.
But what can I contribute to renewable energies? If you replace a gas heating system with a renewable form of energy, up to 35% financial support is possible. There are also trains that run on 100% green electricity. You can use them to travel. Maybe you own a house. Then you might consider installing a solar system. If private households produce more electricity than they consume, the energy surplus can be fed into the public grid in exchange for financial payment. For those who do not want to or cannot produce their own energy at home, buying energy from renewable energy providers is a good option. So there are many ways to use ecological electricity. Do something good for the environment. Why don't you try it out?